accountable.
That was Dr. Kabir Adamu with some analysis from Abuja. Let's now take you to Ghana. And the country has imposed a ban on the export of grains, including maize, rice, and soybeans. The move is to mitigate the effects of severe drought in parts of the country. 8 regions in northern and central Ghana, which contribute more than 60% of the country's grain supply, have been affected. It is believed that over 400,000 farmers have been impacted by the drought, which is now into its 3rd month. The government says they are aiming to ensure food security and promote domestic consumption by introducing the ban. Okay, let's now speak to Martin Tetenate, an agribusiness researcher and the CEO of New Age Agric Solutions Limited. Martin, thanks for your time. Thanks for joining us on Focus on Africa. What would you say are the immediate and potential long-term effects of this ban on Ghana's agricultural sector?
Yeah, so basically the ban that's currently being imposed obviously will have an impact and consequences of Ghanaian farmers as well as agribusiness in a whole. However, I believe that a proper implementation of the program where there is a delicate balance between protecting the domestic food security, that's the aim of the government, as well as minimizing the economic consequences of the Ghanaian farmers and agribusiness, can go a long way in making these policies being successful. When it comes to the negative impact on the ban, I mean, there are positives and negatives, regardless of the good intentions. I have 3 major negative impacts, which from my research, I know would happen.
Right.
The first is the loss of export revenue, because the 3 products, maize, rice, and soya. Maize and rice are staple, but soya is an industrial crop, which farmers which crop that soya need to process it. The byproduct or the produce that comes out of it is what is used for the poultry industry. In time immemorial, most of these farmers do benefit from the export market from Turkey, from Egypt, and as such, this ban has the potential loss of export revenue. Secondly, is the limited market access, and the last one will be the long-term impact on the whole agricultural chain. So these are my 3 first potential negatives.
Let me ask you, Martin. Give us a sense. How have farmers been coping with this drought? What are they doing, or rather, what more can be done to support them?
Yeah. So yes, this drought spell wasn't expected. Every year there is some 2 weeks drought spell, but then now it's moved beyond the 2 months. And as such, it's becoming more of a drought instead of a drought spell. In terms of what can be done to support government, I know government currently has put in some short-term measures by providing some immediate financial support. They intend to also do some cash transfers, as well as providing some level of markets for those who have the inputs or the produce which they intend not to, or which the ban is actually affecting, so that they can be able to buy from the farmers. What I think needs to be done immediately, in the short term, in addition to what government has already commenced, is to also immediately embark on a consultative and engage with more stakeholders and agree on a price. Now, this price would forestall or provide some relief to the farmers, not to take away the fear, and the effect of this vulnerability. By the mid-term to long term, I think there is a need. This is the call for government to be interested in re-implementing or being deliberate about instituting a crop insurance scheme for farmers. So in the future, farmers can be able to benefit from such compensations.
I mean, Martin, even as we look at this ban that was announced recently, we've heard other countries, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, have affected bans previously, for one crop or the other. Have you had a chance to look at those and the impact they had, just to see what could potentially happen in Ghana?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, one, the fact that there is a potential that there could be a lot of produce, then markets cannot be able to pick it up. The reason why I say so is the fact that most of these staples that we have, especially on maize, we produce much more than we consume in Ghana. We are yet to know the full effects of this drought on the production of maize. But then for a crop like soya, as I mentioned earlier, it's an industrial crop. Now, when the local industry is unable to absorb all these products, what then happens is the market drops. Then farmers
I
now,
see.
the investments that people would actually, or the private sector may have when it comes to some crops like soya
All
would
right.
then dwindle. They might not have the interest in going
Mart
into soya production going forward.
yes. Martin, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time.